Hi guys, welcome back. In this video I want to finish off the discussion of the print function, at least for now. We'll come back to it a little bit later, but I want to talk about that, and then I want to talk a little bit more about variables. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we can use the print function to not only display, one thing at a time, but we can use the print function to display multiple things at a time. What do I mean by that, right? I can do something like this. I can say, print, I am, this many years old, right? And then I can say print age, right? Well, I better have a variable age defined, right? So I can print that out. But anyway, I can say something like age equals 44, right? So I can do something like that. And then if I run this module, right, we can look over at the side here, we can see I am this many years old, 44, right? So here is output for the Python shell. Here's the code, right? But I can combine these two statements, right, on lines 2 and 3 into one statement, right? So let me do that, right? So here's combined, right? We're displaying multiple items with the print function, with print, right, in one statement, right? So I can do this. I can say print, I am this many years old, right? Now, how do I do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second argument, if you will, to this print function, right? So the first argument is the string, and then if I put a comma here, the second argument can be the variable, okay? So when I do that, and I run this, okay, I'm going to get the same, I'm going to get a very similar, run module, there we go, right? I'm going to get a very similar output, right, in terms of the content, but look, it's all in one line now, right? It's one single statement, right? Here I have two separate statements, lines 2 and 3, so what do I get? Two different lines of output. Here I combine them all into one statement, so I got one line, okay? All right, so let's move on to discussing some more things about variables. Okay, let's discuss variables, a couple more ideas. Variables are called variables. Why? Because we can change what we assign to them, right? What we assign to them is variable, right? So right now, I've assigned age equals 44, right? Or 44 to age. But what if I want to change that? Well, I can. Do I have to create it? What if I want to represent my age as 45? Does that mean that I have to create a second variable? No. It just means that I have to change what's inside of the age variable. So how can I do that? Right? Well, next year I'm going to get a year older, right? And a year wiser and all of that. So what do I want to do? I'll just change the variable. I don't want to create a second variable. I'll just change it, right? Use an updated assignment statement, right? So let's change the contents from 44 to 45. Right, so after this statement executes, that 44 overwritten by 45, right? And so now, if I have a print statement using that age variable, it's going to change, right? Okay, so here's the updated variable being displayed, the contents, the updated contents of the variable being displayed, right? Was 44, now it's 45. Okay. All right, so let me talk to you about a new topic here, I guess you could say. Let's talk about data types and literals, right? Right here we have a string literal, okay? I am this many years old, and it's in between the quotes, right? But let's talk about numeric data types, okay? So right here, 45, right? This is a numeric data type, right? It's a number, and that's its type, right? A number is a type of data, and 45 is a number, okay? So this right here, what type of data type is this, right? This is an integer data type, okay? And it is it is integer 45, right? And that's one type of number that we can have, but we can also have another type. Okay, right here we can have a floating point data type. Right? So in this case, pi here, 3.141.59, right? This is considered to be a data type of type float, right? This is a float literal. Okay, and 45 would be an integer literal, right? What's the difference? Well, no decimal places, right? Integers don't have decimal places. Floating point numbers do. Okay. All right. So if I was to assign, 45 to a variable, right? Just like I did here. Okay. What have I done here? Okay. This is causing 45 to be stored in memory as type int, right? Type int. Okay. And 3.14159, if I assign that to a variable, well, then that's going to be stored in memory as type float, right? So these types can matter, right, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay, now, we can use a built-in function to tell us what data type these things are, right? So let me give you an example, right? So there's this built-in function called type, okay? And if I pass to it 45, okay, then and run this module, the output is going to give me information about what the type actually is, or what the data type is. Oops, let me save that. Okay, and let me run this one more time. Sorry. I need to put that directly into the interpreter. Okay, because type 45, it returns this information right here, but I didn't tell it to print anything from within the code, right? But if I type it right within the shell, it tells me exactly what it is. So type 45, class int, right? That's its data type. Okay, if I say type 3.14159, right? Class float. Okay, so those integer literals, right? 45, data type int. This literal right here, floating point, class float. Okay. All right. Okay, so how do I store strings, right? So, or how do strings apply here, or where do strings come into the picture, right? Well, if I do something like this, right, this is going to be a string data type, right? And Hank is a string literal, right? And what's its type? Type str. Okay? All right. So here we've seen that we have three general data types, right? In Python. Okay? What do we have? We have the string literal, right? Something like Hank, right? We have an int data type, something like 45, and we have a float data type, something like 3.14159 or 2.17 or whatever, right? So these are examples of the three fundamental types of data that you can work with in Python, okay? So let me show you, I want to show you just one more thing, then we'll wrap this video up. And that is that in Python, variables aren't strongly typed, right? In languages like Java or C++, for example, when you create your variable, you would have to do something like this, right? You'd have to say int x equals 45, right? Or int age equals 42, set to 42, okay? And then anytime you wanted to assign a value to age, it would have to be an int, right? It'd have to be type int, right? So, bad things would happen if I tried to do this, and specifically truncation would happen in languages like C, C++, or Java, right? Only 3 would be assigned to age because, well, integers don't have decimal places, right? But in Python, it's different, okay? In Python, I can change at will values that I assign to variables, right? And the type, Python doesn't care, right? So I could do something like this. I could say, you know, x equals 5, right? And then let's print out the x, okay? And let me run this module, okay? So there's the 5 right there for my print statement, okay? But there's nothing stopping me from changing x and using a different data type, okay? So here I'm changing or overriding the 5 with a floating point number, right? So this is type int, 5 is an int, right? 3.14159 is a float, right? So when I run this, right, printing out 5, printing out 3.14159, no loss of precision, right? X doesn't care necessarily what, you know, type of value we're assigning to it. I can even do something like this, right? Okay. Because Python is a weakly typed language, right? So if I run this module, right? Check out that 5, 3.14159, and Hank, right? X, weakly typed. Python variables are weakly typed. They don't necessarily care what data type you assign to them, right? This is so much nicer, so much easier than other strongly typed languages, right? In C++, for example, this is what you compile. You get a compile time error, right? Because you wouldn't be able to assign, well, for a couple of reasons. I mean, you can't use single quotes with a string in C++ or Java or C for that matter, and you can't assign a string to, you know, integer data type, right? X would have had to have been, you know, a different data type, right? We'd have to keep all that straight in our heads, but Python a lot easier to use in, you know, in this case, in this instance. Well, in a lot of instances, but there you go. Okay, well, I think that's enough for us to talk about right now. So in this video, I showed you how to print things, multiple pieces of information in a single print statement. Also showed you how to use variables and how to assign different data types to those variables, right? We're using the same variable over and over again. And we talked about these 3 foundational types of data, right? These different types of literals, okay? So next video, we're gonna take a look at getting some input from the keyboard. So far, we've just talked about variables and displaying output. Okay, anyway, as usual, thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, would appreciate a like and any comments that you might have, right? Good, bad, or different. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.